The color review today is Sherwin Anew Gray, and this is not your typical paint color. I'm going to talk about the paint color undertones. I'm going to give you a couple color comparisons so you can get a better idea of what this paint color could look like in your home. Also, I'm going to give you some tips on how to pair this paint color with both your fixed and furnished items that you may have in your home, because I want you to get this right. So let's go. Anew Gray is a neutral paint color, but I want to show you something. We're going to take a quick look at this Sherwin-Williams fan deck. Now, when I start scrolling through it, it's going to be right here in the neutral section, and I'm going to keep on going. And you see this fan deck strip right here, the one on the very top, that's called Agreeable Gray. And right below Agreeable Gray is called Anew Gray. So, I want to show you something. When you get this fan deck strip right here, most people will think all these colors relate to one another. The only difference is they just keep on getting darker. But that's one of the biggest mistakes that you can make. And this is why I never recommend building a color palette for your home strictly based on a fan deck strip. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. To prove my point on why I don't recommend building a color palette strictly based on a fan deck strip, you need to see this. Watch this. Here's Agreeable Gray. If you remember, Agreeable Gray sits on top of Anew Gray in the fan deck strip. When I get Anew Gray and I put it on top of Agreeable Gray, look what just happened. You see the green undertones of Agreeable Gray. But let's flip this around. Let's put Agreeable Gray on top of Anew Gray, and look what just happened. You see the violet undertones of Anew Gray. These are two completely different paint colors, and it's so rare that you'll ever put two of these colors in the same room. You have to have the right interior decor and the space to pull it off. Also, Agreeable Gray is a lot more flexible in terms of pairing it with other neutrals. Compared to Anew Gray, you don't have as much flexibility. So having said that, now you know why I don't recommend building a color palette strictly based on a fan deck strip. By the way, if you're new to this channel, feel free to subscribe. I give you valuable information like you're seeing right here in this video. All right, let's get back to it. I've worked with Anew Gray enough times that I can tell you it's going to react completely different depending on the type of lighting that you may receive in your room. Lighting plays a big part of why Anew Gray is considered a chameleon. In other words, it changes throughout the day. So, the best way to explain it is to show you. Anytime you get a room that gets lots of natural sunlight, typically it's a south-facing room. So, this is what Anew Gray looks like in a south-facing room. Notice how it looks almost warm, and typically you'll see the green undertones in certain situations than the violet undertones. However, if you put Anew Gray in a north-facing room that doesn't get a lot of natural lighting, you should expect to see a muted violet gray. It will feel darker and heavier, especially if you have a lot of shadows in your room. So remember, if you paint this in a south-facing room, it's going to be lighter, it's going to be warmer. If you paint this in a north-facing room, it's going to be darker and heavier, and you're definitely going to see the violet undertones. So, having said that, I've talked about the undertones. I've showed you some color comparisons so you get a better idea of what this paint color looks like. Also, I just showed you how this paint color is going to react when it comes to lighting. And the last tip I want to share with you is how to pair this paint color with both your fixed and furnished items. I want to show you two quick examples on why it's so important to compare Anew Gray with both your fixed and furnished items that you may have in your room. Let's say you have a fixed element like this warm gray wood flooring in your dining room. When I compare it with Anew Gray, it works beautifully. But when I compare it with a furnished item like a window treatment fabric like this yellow beige, it's going to clash. This is why it's so important to compare Anew Gray with both your fixed and furnished items that you may have in your room. Because if you paint your room and you don't do this, it's going to feel like there's just something off, and I don't want you to make that mistake. I have two questions for all you out there that are watching this video right now. Question number one, how many of you are a fan of gray paint colors, and what is your favorite gray paint color? And question number two, how many of you painted a room a gray paint color and you were not happy with it? I want to know why. So let me know in the comment section down below. By the way, if you need help on finding the perfect paint color and you want it professionally done, then feel free to check out the link in the description section down below. I tell you how I can help you with any of my online packages, regardless where you live in North America. Thank you for watching, and if you're new here, feel free to subscribe and put a like on this video if you found value, and feel free to spread the word. Until then, I will see you next week.